Imagine the most powerful man in the world, the head of an empire stretching from Britain to Mesopotamia, sitting alone in his military tent, not strategizing conquest, but simply writing letters to himself. These were not public decrees or political memos. They were raw, personal reflections on how to remain a good, rational, and just human being amidst unimaginable stress and endless war. This is the source of the book, Meditations, the private diary of the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. This text has since guided leaders, entrepreneurs, and thinkers for nearly 2 millennia, becoming a cornerstone of Western philosophy. It is a secret manifesto on how to handle anxiety, master self-control, and find inner peace in a chaotic world. In this audio summary, we will move beyond the historical context and uncover the core problem the book solves: how to achieve eudaimonia, or a flourishing life, by transforming your perspective on the events you cannot control. We will break down the 3 fundamental disciplines Aurelius used daily, offering you a direct, actionable blueprint to adopt the invincible mindset of an emperor. The unifying core philosophy of Meditations is Stoicism, but its fundamental principle can be distilled into a clear maxim. The only thing you truly own is your mind, and your happiness resides in your perception of events, not the events themselves. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that external events like the loss of a child, betrayal by a friend, the chaos of battle, or even the inevitable fact of his own death, are indifferent. They are neither good nor evil, they simply exist. The only thing that possesses moral character, and therefore the only source of human suffering or peace, is the judgment we assign to these events. The goal of every meditation was to train the mind to pause between the sensory input of an event and the cognitive output of a reaction. This pause is the battleground where freedom is won. By consistently questioning his immediate, emotional judgments, Aurelius aimed to live in absolute agreement with nature and reason, ensuring his virtue was the one constant in his transient life. This practice is the engine that drives all the practical lessons within the text. The practical wisdom of Meditations is often organized into 3 core disciplines, which form the bedrock of Stoic practice. Lesson 1 is the discipline of perception, how to see clearly. Aurelius dedicated much of his writing to stripping away the elaborate, emotional stories we tell ourselves about things. He used a powerful technique called objective representation, which means viewing everything only by its physical components and function, removing all subjective judgment. If an object is a magnificent piece of jewelry, he would remind himself it is simply dirt and decay. If a critic's words feel painful, he would reframe them as a vibration of air. This is the core practice of realizing that our opinions are often more painful than reality itself. To apply this today, whenever you feel a surge of negative emotion, anger, jealousy, or fear, immediately ask yourself, what is this at its core? If you are stuck in traffic, reframe it not as a personal insult to your schedule, but merely as the temporary congestion of metal objects on a road. This practice de-escalates the emotional response, allowing you to choose a rational, rather than reactive, response. The only true threat is the lapse of your own rational faculty. Lesson 2 is the discipline of action, how to act justly. As an emperor, Marcus Aurelius was perpetually concerned with his duty to the world. He believed that the ultimate purpose of human life is to act in accordance with the good of the whole, a concept he called sympathia, or the interconnectedness of all things. If one part of the body suffers, the whole body suffers. Therefore, our actions must not be self-serving, but aimed at the welfare of the human community, like a bee working for the hive. He repeatedly stressed that if an action is not useful for the community, it is destructive to the soul. Before undertaking a significant task, always ask a second question. Is this necessary, and is it for the common good? If you find yourself avoiding a difficult but necessary task, remind yourself that you woke up to do the work of a human being. He also advised to act with reserve clause, performing your duty fully, but accepting that the outcome is not guaranteed and is ultimately beyond your control. Focus intensely on the effort and release any attachment to the result. Lesson 3 and the final lesson is the discipline of will, how to accept fate. This discipline is concerned with our relationship to the cosmos, death, and change. Aurelius's most famous and perhaps most comforting teaching is the concept of amor fati, or a love of fate. This is not passive resignation. It is an active, even joyful, acceptance of everything that happens, recognizing that every event, no matter how harsh, is an essential thread in the perfectly woven tapestry of the universe. The things that happen to you are precisely the things necessary to test and perfect your character. To practice this today, use the harsh reality of your own mortality as a powerful tool for prioritization. The emperor constantly wrote that you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is the antidote to procrastination and trivial distraction. When facing loss or disappointment, see it as an opportunity handed to you by the universe to practice the virtues of patience, courage, and perseverance. Every obstacle is a hidden chance to practice virtue. The power of meditations lies in its complete lack of dogma. It is not a book about philosophy, but an attempt at doing philosophy in real time. This is what connects it so strongly to modern therapeutic practices like cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT, which also focuses on identifying and reframing destructive cognitive judgments. And while the text's principles are timeless, a common misunderstanding of Stoicism is that it encourages a cold, emotionless existence. This is a crucial mistake. Aurelius does not teach the suppression of emotion, but the redirection of judgment. He asks us to mourn losses, but not to dwell in self-pity, and to feel anger, but to swiftly channel that energy toward virtuous action. The synthesis of his work is a practical manual for emotional management, offering an inner citadel, an unshakable place of mental security that is accessible regardless of external circumstances. It is not a philosophy of resignation, but a blueprint for radical, mental self-mastery in service of others. The most valuable single action you can take from this summary is to adopt the practice of the view from above. Whenever a situation feels overwhelming, mentally zoom out. See yourself, your city, your country, and the earth as a tiny speck against the vastness of time and space. This technique immediately reduces the gravity of immediate problems, aligning your perspective with the grandeur of the universe. It shifts your focus from petty concerns to universal duty. The Journal of an Emperor provides an unparalleled access point to true self-discipline. This text proves that the greatest battles are always fought within the mind. What single judgment are you prepared to challenge and conquer today? Let me know in the comments below. And if you are ready to apply these lessons to the structure of your daily life, we recommend checking out our next audio summary on atomic habits, which perfectly complements the philosophical framework laid out by Marcus Aurelius.